Hey everyone, this is Alex, and welcome to the Two Dudes, Brews, and Reviews podcast. Today, we're talking about the 2008 DreamWorks animated film Kung Fu Panda. This is one of Austin's favorite movies, so I kind of take a backseat to let him gush about it. And by the way, as Austin says in the episode, this may be a PG-rated movie, but this is an R-rated review. If you like what you hear, consider subscribing to the podcast and maybe even tell your friends about us. With that being said, we hope you enjoy the show.
Young Getter, we're back. Back at it like wrap plastic.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
What you been up to lately?
Well, I am full of ramen right now. I'll say that.
We got authentic ramen tonight. There was a new ramen place that opened up nearby. We had our thematic dinner for our podcast topic, but it was really great.
It was the first time I've ever had the authentic ramen. You've had it once before?
Yes. It was on a little trip with Elizabeth and happened to be like nearby where we were staying, and it was great. But it was like the only time I ever had it. But when we did have it, it was like, it's exactly what just happened to us. We had the euphoria of finishing a good bowl of ramen, and we both decided that it was probably one of the best meals we've had in a long time.
It gives you that kind of fullness that you don't feel gross afterward.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel warm, and it's great.
Yeah, it was excellent. It ties in with our movie that we're doing. I've recommended the infamous Kung Fu Panda, a film trilogy that I hold near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, this is one of your favorites. You've been talking about this one for a long time.
Yeah, we're finally here. Let's just hop right into it. It's only about an hour and 25 minutes. It's got a lot of character. It tells a good story. It's funny. It's well animated. And I guess I just want to like understand how you perceive the film, seeing it for the first time, because I have like a mental map of this film like in my brain forever. And so I can never experience it for the first time again. But upon your first few viewings, general thoughts, things that stood out to you.
Okay, so like if we're being honest here, the first time I went into it, I was very reluctant to want to like it. And I think it stems back from, when did this movie come out? 2008?
Yeah.
In 2008, I was 13 or 14 probably. Mm-hmm. To me, animated movies were like on the outs for me.
You're like, I want to experience real shit now.
I was getting into big boy movies, you know?
Fight Club, baby.
I remember seeing ads for this movie and thinking, that looks fucking horrible. Mm-hmm. But this movie is a lot better than it has any fucking right to be, honestly. I really enjoyed it, but I'm going to need you to fill me in on this pedestal that you put it on. Mr. Best fucking animated movie of all time. I know you're probably being hyperbolic.
Yeah,
or maybe sure. Not. I don't know.
I for sure am. To me, it's a movie from my childhood, but it's grown up with me. Every time I watch it, I'm like filled with the sense of adventure, and it surprisingly has a lot of dark adult themes. Not like overbearingly dark or anything, but I don't know what you say. Like the theme of it is like expectations, and has like a lot to do with not fitting in or bullying. And that's all fun, and you know that it still works for me as an adult. The animation, like the style, is very much DreamWorks, so it's not like special. You know what I mean?
I thought it was all solid.
Yeah.
Although I will say there's a little bit of an uncanny valley thing with Poe. His eyes.
Yeah.
None of the other character designs really did that to me except for him. I don't know if you agree with me about that or not.
There are a few times throughout the film where if you watch Poe's facial expressions, they are like a little bit exaggerated compared to the other characters. Maybe it's trying to like up his goofiness compared to like the other stoic, more serious characters. There are times where he gets kind of like, his face kind of feels flat at times. Like I can remember very specifically a scene where Tigress like does the splits and breaks the two stones or whatever, and like he tries to like collect them, and like I remember looking at his face and being like, what the fuck is he doing? Because he's like in this weird sense of awe, but it doesn't even look like his character anymore. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like our main character is Poe the panda, played by Jack Black, none other. I guess You can characterize him as like an overly obsessive nerd for kung fu. He's an out of shape fat panda, works for his father in a noodle shop in this valley of the Valley of Peace is our setting. Po wants desperately to be a kung fu fighter. He admires, his idols are the Furious Five, which are made up of our 5 other animals. So there's Crane, Viper, Tigress, Monkey, played by Jackie Chan, and Tigress by Angelina Jolie. David Cross plays Crane.
Yes, I love David Cross.
And I believe it's Lucy
Liu.
Yeah.
You've seen her in stuff before, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And she plays Viper, the snake, and then Mantis is played by none other than Seth Rogen.
I didn't know that going into the movie.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't get dialogue till like 30 or 40 minutes in. And when he finally speaks and he gives like the Seth Rogen laugh, it actually got an out loud laugh from me. Because I went, what the fuck? What's he doing here?
Yeah. The dad, the goose, he's played by...
This is a voice I've heard many times.
Have you ever seen Balls of Fury?
Yes.
He plays the blind teacher, like the ping pong guy.
Okay.
That's him. He's also in Big Trouble in Little China.
Is he really?
Yeah, and I also think he's in Blade Runner.
You forgot Dustin Hoffman as Master
Shifu. Yeah, Master Shifu is Dustin Hoffman. What's crazy, though, I never think of the characters as their human actors that are portraying them.
Yes.
I get very enveloped in the world, and I don't know if you feel the same.
I think the farther the movie goes, it's like breaking the barrier from those beginning like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. We also can't forget our main villain, Tai Lung. The snow leopard is played by, what's his name?
This is another voice that I feel like I've heard
You've
many
heard him
times.
before. Let me get there. Let me find him. I always blank as soon as it's time to go. Okay, so one thing that I think is funny is that this movie has like an amassed following online. Like, this is a movie that gets brought up like on daily social interactions, unless you know me, unless you're my best friend. But
social media hasn't memed it up yet, though. It's not like Shrek or the Bee Movie.
I'm actually going to disagree with you there.
Really? I never see Kung Fu Panda memes.
You never seen Master Oogway memes?
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. It's probably like a deeper part of the internet. He's played by Ian McShane. But yeah, it's like a star-studded cast. Randall Duke Kim.
Is that the dad?
That is the dad. He is in like nothing.
Really?
He plays the doctor in John Wick Chapter 3 that bandages up old Keanu. Yeah, but anyway, there's a lot of people. This movie's just a lot of fun to me. It kind of hangs in the balance between like a serious anime film that I might like and something that I may not take as seriously, like, Shrek or How to Train Your Dragon, Pixar films. I don't want to gush too much about it. I want to ask you, you said that you didn't want to like it at first.
Yeah, it was just an old stigma, I think, that's been with me for a long time. Before we say too much more, though, what are we drinking today?
Oh,
Austin?
fuck yeah. Well, I wanted to drink Rheingeist Snowcat, which is probably like a seasonal brew that they run, but it's a white ale, and I don't think either of us really like those. I
hate winter beers.
Yeah. And I was afraid it might be weedy, and I'm like, we both hate Blue Moon, shit like that. But we're drinking Urban Artifact, which we haven't had an Urban Artifact in a while, and we're drinking an orange creamsicle fruit tart seltzer.
Apparently made with real orange zest and whole vanilla bean.
Yeah, it's okay.
My first drink of it, I wasn't sure about it, but now that I've cracked my own can open, I think it's pretty all right. I think it's on the higher end of seltzers.
Well,
and it's not too sour either.
To me, it doesn't really taste like a seltzer. I mean, we haven't poured it, but I know it's pretty clear. I don't know if you can see it's got a slight tinge to it. Yeah, it's pretty good. Kind of tastes like Sunny D. Less creamsicle, more just orange, but that probably has to do with the fruit tart aspect of it.
I had to bring up the drinking thing because when I go back and edit these and we don't talk about like what we're drinking, it drives me crazy for some reason.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Urban Artifact's a brewery that I really enjoy. They mostly do only tarted beers, so.
You really love the Gadget.
Yeah, the Gadget's the one with it's blackberry, raspberry tart, and it is like wine. It's thick. Oh, it'll make you sick, though, if you drink too much of it.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like a 7%er. Yeah, we've been taking a break. We talked about it on the last podcast, I'm sure, but this is only 5%. We'll save some of the heavier high percent ABVs for another date until we're feeling more froggy.
Hey, I just picked up a bottle of Goose Island Bourbon County Stout. What was the variation? Cherrywood?
Yeah, you got Cherrywood. I think I talked you into it because they also had a cola.
That's the one I wanted to try, but it was $25 for one bottle, and that felt like a little steep, for me.
Maybe I'll have to look at reviews and see what people say about the cola one specifically.
Yeah.
I did mention at the liquor store that there was more cherry woods taken than the cola, and maybe that's a sign that I feel like the cherry wood is probably really great. That shit was good. I liked it a lot. I know you didn't care for it the first time.
You still have a bottle from last year.
Yep. When we bought it the first time, you bought a bottle and I bought a bottle, and we just decided to open one and save the other. So it's still sitting in the pantry. It's a year old now.
Got to break that out soon.
Maybe we'll bust it out maybe on the next podcast or the one following. But back to Kung Fu Panda. I've
just had to take that side note.
I do meme it up like it's one of the best films ever. And while I do think it's great, I don't know if it's worthy of a Academy Award or a Criterion Collection, a catered film that everyone and their brother needs to see. But I do think it's one of the best DreamWorks movies I've ever seen. This and the second one.
I was going to ask you about DreamWorks, what your opinion of the company is, because they're not looked at the same way that
they used to be.
Pixar and Disney.
I would say about 10 years ago, they were running the same pace. And I feel like Pixar is kind of doing this right now, too, or Disney Studios. Not all Disney Studios films are Pixar films, but they all have about the same style. Because Frozen, for example, isn't a Pixar film, right? It kind of has that same feel in a way. Same animation style, big fucking eyes, The way Pixar and Disney Studios animate their characters, they actually model them after cats. Specifically Elsa from Frozen. If you put her head next to a cat, they look the same. The way they shape heads is so oblong.
I've never noticed
so
this
strange.
before.
Well, it's because of a little bit of my art background. I ventured deep into the YouTube world of art and just trying to understand different aspects of... they all have a unique, distinct look, I should say. But DreamWorks, back in the day, was Shrek was the shit... How to Train Your Dragon, Kung Fu Panda was great.
They did The Prince of Egypt.
Yeah.
That movie's fucking awesome, too.
You like that movie?
I love that movie.
I don't know a single fucking person that knows about that movie.
Really?
Elizabeth hates that fucking movie. Oh my God, the Deliver Us, that big music score they do and shit. I think Hans Zimmer did that one, too.
That movie used to terrify me when I was a kid.
Oh my God.
It's super dark.
Yeah, it is. The gators and stuff and the river and...
It's kind of about Christianity in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Book of Exodus. I'm so glad that you know about that. I don't know many people that even remember that movie. That's a great film. And they also did Emperor's New Groove, shit like that.
I love that
classic.
movie.
Yeah, classic. I used to watch that all the time. Tarzan. Nope, that's Disney.
Emperor's New Groove is Disney
as
too.
well. Fuck me.
They've fallen off, though, in the recent years. DreamWorks is doing the Emoji Movie, Trolls World Tour, 15 Shrek sequels that aren't as good as the first two.
Yeah, that's kind of sad now that I'm thinking about it. Damn it. They should just come back to Kung Fu Panda.
Wreck-It Ralph, did they do that one? Is that a Disney movie?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because the second one has all the princesses in it. Damn, Disney owns fucking everything. But yeah.
They own your fucking life, bro. It's the Illuminati. Kung Fu Panda.
Keep getting so off track. Sorry, I kind of spurred that one.
It's all right. We're only 20 minutes in. This is what I really want to understand. Your thought process through the beginning of the film, because this part specifically, when the film opens up, it's narration from Jack Black over a dream sequence, but it's not really revealed that way until a few minutes after that.
This was awesome.
It was a good way to give us insight on our character, because this is his dream that he's having, and you're just going into it thinking this is the setup for the story or something. And he ends up having to wake up, and he falls over out of his bed. And these are parts where I still audibly laugh today, even after seeing the film 20, 30 times, is where he's going up to his action figures in the window and mimicking them. And he gets down to Tigress and roars, and someone else,
the neighbors
watching. It's not funny on paper, but the timing of it is so nice. And he's almost still framed in the window.
I really liked the animation style they chose for the dream sequence. It was very Samurai Jack style.
Yeah.
And I got a laugh out of the part where he comes in and he sits down at the diner and the guy says something along the lines of like, you chew a lot. Why don't you chew on this fist? Or something.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that's like fucking John Lithgow doing the voiceover for the guy that says that.
I thought it was still Poe. Or like still Jack Black.
Or not for him, but for the
crocodile.
The guy that pounds his fist on the table. But yeah, the graphic style is fucking great.
It is very much Samurai Jack, especially like the battlefield of flags and shit. That's for sure. I notice a lot of little things nowadays going into, like, I've seen it so many times, but like, is there just like general things that you notice, like moving past this scene? Like he's downstairs in the noodle shop. Like when he walks downstairs, is calling out for his father and everything. The silhouette of him holding like looks like to be like a couple large baskets is like the same silhouette as a panda, but then he's behind it, but as a goose. Next time you watch the film,
I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, I mean, it even has like little ties on the top of the basket to like look like the panda ears from Poe. Small shit like that. But yeah, his dad's a goose. They serve noodles. I'm not really sure. It's like noodle soup. It's not ever like described as a specific dish, but yeah, his dad's like kind of like a crazy whack job.
I like his dad's character.
Yeah, he's badass.
He's very passionate about noodles. Even though he almost went off to go make tofu. He stayed in his rightful place.
It's just a stupid dream, man. And then I think we get introduced to our Furious Five and Master Shifu following that because the flute is playing. And we go up to the Jade Palace. We get to see like our first, I guess, action sequences and stuff, which is something we'll talk about. Like the choreography in this film is
very good.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
Very, very good.
It's so well done that it's really hard to pick apart at times. I'm like, damn, that shit just happened so fast. Like it's wild.
Those are the parts that I watched like the most intently. Before we like hop too far ahead, I have a comment to make about that first scene in the noodle shop. There's a certain storyline in animation movies that I really hate. I hate the movies where the main character he's a dreamer. His parents say, you belong here doing this thing, but they want to do something else. There's a lot of movies that do that plot. And when that was introduced at first, because I didn't know what this movie's plot was, I kind of groaned at first. So I was like, it's one of those movies. Like, I think Wreck-It Ralph does that. You're meant to be a villain.
I don't want to be a villain.
This movie, the whole like telling him you belong here thing kind of like sidesteps really fast.
Yeah.
Like it's not like people on the streets are like, oh, Poe, you can't be a karate master. Like they kind of skip past that shit.
No, it's understandable. It's true. You got to watch this for the first time. I know how the movie ends and how, the rest of the story goes. But when you start out, it's like, you're still treading the water. You don't really know if you're in it or not. It doesn't really give you like background. One of the things that I think the movie does well, and this will tie in with the rest of the film, is the character, like the personification of animals. And I mean, this is kind of the same thing with what Zootopia did, which I hold that movie to a high standard as well out of animated films that I really love. Because all the characters have personality for, what we see them as in real life. Like foxes are sly, bunny rabbits are quick and fast, but they're weak to predators. That's kind of what that movie does. But in this film, Poe's a big fat panda. Pandas are lazy. They sit around and eat all day. Like, sometimes they kill each other when they have sex on accident. Sometimes, like, they sit on their own kids. Like,
if only they would have put that in the movie.
Yeah, it's like... But, like, he already has, like, that stench of failure in his character to where you don't really have to see that kind of shit. Like, it's kind of just like, Poe's a panda. Like, he has no...
The movie doesn't treat you like a dumbass.
Yeah.
You know what a fucking panda is.
Honestly, that's something that I think why I still enjoy it as an adult is because the movie doesn't treat you like you're an idiot. You don't have to be a kid to watch this movie. Man, it has so much fun too. Like fun at like an adult can have fun at. And it's not like stupid and cheesy. Like it doesn't have cheesy jokes like the Emoji Movie or, you know what I mean? It still has classy humor. Like it's not stupid where you can get like a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old to laugh at it. You know what I mean?
Even like the over reluctance on like fat jokes and stuff, it dealt with it in a semi-mature manner. Because like in the beginning, they keep going back to these fat jokes. Like he breaks the boards at the palace when he's walking in, and I was like, oh god, like I hate fat jokes in movies. But it turns out it plays into the story. it plays into his training later on. So it's kind of like makes all that shit in the beginning like make more sense.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want the joke just to be like he's fat. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's just say that after we get introduced to our characters, that we get introduced to Master Oogway, which is our wise old tortoise, which is Master Shifu's master. He's summoned by the other goose, the messenger. Oogway wants to see him, and here's another small thing that I really love. When he's standing on top of his staff, the way we're introduced to him, he's like alone, almost like in a meditative state. When he gets down from the staff, bouncing on top of this thin pole, he's balancing on his head.
I did
not
notice
his feet.
that.
And it's like just, little small things like visual tricks to like, they kind of entrance you a little bit into like curiosity.
I remember it tripped me up seeing his head come out from the bottom.
Yeah. Which also like ties into he's a quirky ass character.
He's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. If you continue to watch these movies later on or whatever, you'll like him even more. He's the meme of this movie. He's the internet culture of this film.
I think they got some good laughs out of he's trying to like blow out the candles in the shrine and he's there's like 1,000.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty funny. They have a good laugh when they're looking up at the dragon scroll and like they're both pondering like, well, who's the dragon warrior going to be? And like the camera pans on him like in a really dramatic fashion. And then Oogway just goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that made me kind of laugh.
Oh yeah. Again, ties back into the charm of the film. It doesn't take itself too seriously at times. It knows when to do it. It knows when not to do it. It breaks that tension with good comedic timing. He has a vision that Tai Lung will return. We don't know who the fuck he is. We get like a little flashback cutaway from Shifu freaking out. And yeah, they don't know who's going to be the Dragon Warrior. And so now it's time to pan back to Po. And someone comes in and posts a poster on the wall of the noodle shop saying that Po reads it and tells everybody to go to the Jade Palace and that they're going to pick their Dragon Warrior today. And yeah, this is my favorite fucking scene in the whole film. It's so fucking funny. Bro, we forgot the noodle dream.
You has noodle dream?
Yeah. Po's dad thinks that Po had a dream about noodles because Po was having his dream at the beginning of the film. And Po's afraid to admit to his dad that he was dreaming about Kung Fu. So he says he has a noodle dream. And now the dad thinks, oh my God, my son, he's going to be the owner of the noodle shop. His destiny's fulfilled. Yeah, so Po has to take the noodle cart to the Jade Palace up like 10,000 steps. Like it's so, like it's unnecessary.
Where the fuck's the handicap ramp?
I don't know, man. This movie, I don't know. You need to write an article about that because this movie needs to be canceled now. We need to stop.
They excluded people with disabilities.
We need to stop talking about this movie. God damn it. This was my favorite movie. Now I hate it. Takes up the fucking noodle cart. You can't even get it. Then this got a laugh out of me too.
They do a time lapse.
Yeah, they do a time lapse. But then it's like he's only gone up like 3 stairs. I guess Jack Black's overacting and makes this movie great for that reason. Oh man, so good. But he says, fuck the noodle cart, I'm gonna go up there. He finally makes it up, and they shut the fucking doors on him. Oh my God, this movie, that gives me so much anxiety. You know how much that pisses me off? You ever been late to anything? It fucking sucks. I think this is when like I start to love the film.
It really picks up from here, definitely.
This is like where the movie ropes you in. You get these attempts of him trying to get into behind this wall. He's like banging on the door, but no one can hear him because he's going along with the drum beat.
Yeah.
Like little small things like that. He like tries to catapult himself with like a tree and fucking like, dude,
He's too big. The tree won't launch him.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of when he looks through the little circular window. He has a view, but then like a pig stands in the way. And I don't know what made me laugh about this. Maybe it was the voice acting of the pig. He has like this real gruff voice and he's like, oh, look over there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like a middle-aged hillbilly type of sound. Like a trailer park boy type of deal. Yeah, this shit's fun. The whole thing is about they're showing off the Furious Five's abilities and stuff, so... And, like, we don't even get to see it because we're looking through Poe's perspective, and it's super frustrating. To this day, this fucking part makes me, like, laugh so fucking much, is where he ties himself to, like, a chair with, like, fireworks on it. And, like, I was hoping you would at least enjoy the comedy in this part, because I'm like, there's no way he can't like this. This is so fucking funny. His dad is finally, like, has made it back up the steps, and it's like, he's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And he's like, I'm going to see the Dragon Warrior. It's like,
It's so Jack Black.
Yeah. He plays a really good, like, I think Poe's supposed to be pretty young. I don't, like, Jack Black's an old man now. Like, give or take, this movie was like 13 years ago.
He had to have been in his 30s when he like voice acted it.
Yeah, he still sounds young. Yeah, he like takes off after like the failed ignition. And his fucking face, dude, when it's like fucking just fucking cramming against this concrete makes me cry.
It's like when you play a video game and you like press the sprint button into the wall and your character is like running into place. Kind of remind me of that.
Yeah.
Except he's off the fucking ground.
Yeah. And his like tongue, and he's like, it just gets in this weird hysteria. Like, it's so weird. His face fucking like warps, and he like it looks like if somebody's like on laughing gas. Like,
yes.
It's so funny. But yeah, then he takes off, and like the fucking chair dissipates underneath him, and like he falls into the center of this courtyard or whatever they're in. Yeah, he gets knocked out, and fucking Oogway's pointing at him like he's the Dragon Warrior. Enter the rest of the film of training, and when Shifu is summoned by Master Oogway, Oogway makes a comment. Master Shifu says, "It's impossible. He's in prison." Master Shifu says, "Nothing is impossible." One of the quotes that I think is one of the best is, he says, "One often meets his destiny on the road he takes to avoid it."
Yeah.
And this movie's littered with shit like that, like wise sayings from a fucking turtle, but which is true. It is what happens because he sends the messenger to double the guards, double everything, and I believe this is where the film where we left off after he gets chosen. And everything is, we kind of get a cut to Master Oogway says, "If the panda hasn't quit by morning, I will have failed you," and we get that weird slow pan over into the snow.
Well, like they use the confetti as a transition to the snow.
Which I didn't know if you'd find that cheap or not. I didn't know if you'd find it tasteful or not.
It could have been done more like smoothly, but I knew what they were going for.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, that was pretty all right.
Yeah, it's one of the few times that they do that, though. Yeah, I want to talk specifically about, this is where the movie, I think, really starts to shine. We get these moments of, or this scene specifically, or like this setting has some really nice cinematography. It's this cool, toned, earthy cavern, like almost like a bottomless pit. Imagine a tower, but in the ground, filled with, what are those called? Stalactites or?
Stalagmites.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, geography. Or geology. God damn it. But, yeah. So at the very bottom, there's one prisoner, and that is Tai Lung. And that's like our first real introduction to him, besides the discussion between Oogway and Shifu.
And you only see him with his head down for the first time.
Yeah, he's like got this shell on his back that seems like it has these acupuncture. It's described by Master Rhino, or whatever his fucking name is
Mr. Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, rest in peace.
I forgot he died.
Yeah, he passed away a few years ago. Fuck death. We're talking about good shit. Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, so we get to see him like immobilized. He's got his chains on. It's described that he can't go anywhere, right? Shifu has nothing to worry about.
I was interested because the way they set up this prison, they really make it feel like a formidable structure to escape from. And I knew he was going to escape.
Yeah.
So I was looking at where he was placed and like how much distance there was from like the next level that he could reach. But I was like, how is the movie going to write him out of this place? And the way they execute it is really fucking believable in this universe.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way. The prison gets introduced, and then we get a cutaway back to it's just training and bullying. And we'll talk about specific scenes. We don't have to go super in order, but yeah, the cinematography is really nice. And then there's like these red torches, or like red, these sources of red light. It works really well. And it's actually something kind of wouldn't expect from like an animated movie to execute like this, a warm light against a cool tone. It's simple on paper, but it's executed really well in this scene. But yes, Tai Lung has to escape, and it's done really well. The way he escapes is a feather falls because this rhino, fucking big ass rhino, keeps smacking our fucking goose around, like fucking breaking his spine, and he knocks a feather loose when he first arrives, and it falls all the way down to Tai Lung,
It's like a prison shank. He like hides it real fast
with his tail.
Yes.
And the way he escapes is that he puts the feather in like the lock, picks the lock with a feather. Yeah, it's just badass, bro.
This part was so great. I usually have a problem with movies and their villains because they don't make them feel like a threat or a believable threat. This movie, even though I think the villain, his motivations are a little underdeveloped at times, or like what the grand scheme is, they make him feel dangerous. And they do it really fucking well in about the span of 3 minutes, probably.
What you'd say, like a couple thousand soldiers, or probably 1,000.
He makes these guards look like fucking punks.
Makes them look like fucking incompetent. Almost as incompetent as the people that edited Suicide Squad. It's really smart. They make him feel like you just unleashed a demon. Ready these big-ass crossbows. They're shooting poles, basically, with spear tips on the end. He uses the spear to, like, break
his shackles.
Like, he makes them shoot his cuffs. And then, like, he fucking throws a big old spear at him and, like, breaks all these crossbows and shit, and he breaks free, and he almost, like, spirals back up this tower. It also does have comedic relief in this as well. Like, he puts, like, a mace in one of the rhino's mouths.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was kind of cheap, but, like, at least they're trying to, like, break some tension here.
I found it funny that everything they did to stop him from escaping is what made him escape.
Yeah, like they shoot like 1,000 arrows down at him from these archers up top. And, Tai Lung has like this specific cat-like reflexes, quite literally. He realizes that the only cover there is underneath this platform that they're reeling back up, that they used to get down to him. He takes one of the spears that are in the wall and he like swings like a gymnast underneath the platform.
This leads to one of the best shots in the movie. Him flinging from the wall to that piece of wood, or that cage that's rising. They're shooting 1,000,000 arrows down at him, and there's kind of a slow-mo shot where he's midair about to catch onto this thing, and there's like 1,000,000 arrows falling down. It's really good looking.
Because all these arrows are red.
Yes.
And it helps tie back into that lighting.
Pops against the dark tones. Yes.
Very nice. God damn it. I really need to like take a sedative right now. But then like they cut the chain. He like comes up and like fucking does the splits and kicks both these guys in the head. Which we get to see the splits in combat, you know?
Yes.
We have to remember that Master Shifu was Tai Lung's teacher. And the reason Tai Lung's in prison is because he tried to take the Dragon Scroll by force because Master Oogway denied him it. But Shifu is almost like Tai Lung's dad. I know you might have like a reluctance to say like maybe his motivations are shit, but Tai Lung was young when he was imprisoned, and this is all this is what he has to sit and think about all day. You know what I mean? That's what prison's about. You have to sit and think about what you did.
He was led to believe that he was the one. Where I think his motivation... I know the movie's only 90 minutes, so that's probably why. Like, I think that the short runtime is to its benefit. Like, the pacing is so good throughout. I just want to spend more time with the villain, kind of. Like, learn a little bit more about him. That might just be a me thing.
That's for the second film. Second film is like, you get to know your villain really well in that one.
You've told me that Kung Fu Panda 2 is the superior.
It is a superior, because this movie, I know it's a trilogy, but although I think the third one's the weakest, unfortunately. It's still good, but it's in the grand scheme of the trilogy, it's probably the weakest. But that's kind of thematic, though, with most trilogies. Iron Man 3 sucks dick. Return of the King is probably the lead. Well, Two Towers kind of fucking sucks. I don't know. You haven't seen those movies, but
You're going to upset some people saying that.
Sorry.
People love those movies.
Oh, they're great, but it's literally just one big film, and the way they're cut, the Two Towers, in my opinion's the weakest.
Revenge of the Sith. Isn't that the most respected out of that?
The prequels, yeah.
Yeah.
But the prequels suck.
Yeah. It was the best out of the shit.
Maybe I'm wrong here. But in the specific case of Kung Fu Panda, the third one's the worst. But you get to know your villain a lot more in the second one. This movie just lays like the world building down.
It was just enough.
We forgot to mention that this film fucking crushed at the box office.
Yeah, I remember I was shocked when I looked at Wikipedia and saw that it grossed like $600 million.
Yeah. And
that's insane.
Do you know that this movie is beloved by China? Whoever the fucking leader of the free world over there is, I think he made a comment about like we should have more films like this coming out of China. And then the second film is actually animated specifically for China, for the characters to have more Asian authentic eyes. There was like a specific catering to the Chinese audience in that one. But yeah, he's a badass. He fucking crushes through these people. He finally makes it all the way to the top, and they're guarding the entrance to the prison, and they light the TNT that lines the stalagmites at the top of this cavern.
And once again, he uses it against them to escape.
And this is a badass part of the scene as well, where like basically if they're at ground level, he has to crawl from underneath the sea back up these stalagmites, and then he makes it all the way back up to the top where the last TNT charge is about to go off, and he throws the TNT down at them and fucking kills all these fucking rhino. I mean, like,
this movie doesn't shy away from even if they don't die on the explosion, you see them fly off this gigantic Arctic mountain.
Yes, they're fucking dead.
I was a little shocked at this.
They fucking fall to their goddamn deaths.
I was like, fuck yeah, they
Holy
went there.
Shit. This is a kid's movie, goddammit. We just fucking killed a bunch of characters.
This poor messenger bird.
Oh my god.
Tells him to go back and spread the word that Tai Long is free.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen this movie plenty of times, but I got to come at it again with a little bit more of an analytical for the podcast. I couldn't help but think, I'm like, imagine your scale as that goose being in the hands of that fucking snow leopard. Like,
yes.
Do you know how fucking awful that would be? Like, I couldn't help but feel the immense sense of dread and anxiety coming from that character. Just like trying to think about, holy shit. Like, could you imagine? It's like having Andre the Giant pick one of us up by our necks. Like,
yes.
It would be crazy.
So here we shoot back to Poe training at the palace.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember exactly, because there's a lot of like training montage stuff, especially like when he first goes in there and he's like asking Shifu for a level 0.
Yeah.
Which
there is now a level 0.
Fucking, you're telling me level 0 involves getting caught on fire?
Oh my god,
this poor guy.
Getting fucked up.
Poor Poe.
I felt bad for him, but he didn't want to quit. We kind of skipped past it, but Master Oogway meets him at the peach tree.
I like this scene. This is a good one.
Poe's got like 7 fucking peaches stuffed in his mouth, and Master Oogway's like, so you eat when you're upset? And he's like, I'm not upset. What are you talking about? Poe describes to him like why he's so upset. Like, he's like, today sucked. I probably sucked more than anyone in the history of sucking today.
I got good comedy out of when he's giving that speech, and he says something like everybody totally hates me, and then Oogway just goes, totally.
And he goes, yeah, because he's like, probably in the history of sucking. He goes, probably. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I do love the way his character interacts, because like, he's just like, fuck, he's like he's like just some big fucking stoner fucking tortoise, dude. It's the best. He tells him, this is a quote to live by, bro. Past is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it's called a present. Do you understand why I am the way I am? Because I live by fucking Oogway.
I feel like after this, you kind of get Poe warming up with the Furious the Furious 5. Isn't that a Fast and Furious movie? My bad. These two intellectual properties don't need to meet. The Fatal 5
crushed my balls.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, he does warm up to him.
Tigress is the one that's the most reluctant to be friends with him. But the other ones, they finally start getting lines of dialogue. I know like earlier in the movie, they mostly stood around and looked angrily at him. They get a lot of more of like characterization right here.
Yeah, with like Mantis and Viper, like
doing the
acupuncture.
The acupuncture. This is a funny scene. Tigress wants him to be serious, but then he like makes a really weird face. And it's just because they put the pin in the wrong place.
And there's like 70 pins in his back.
And the whole thing where they're doing that plays into the ending of the movie because he's too fat to find where the nerves are.
Yes, we'll get there.
I know I'm trying to jump ahead here, but there's a lot of good callbacks, like things from earlier in the movie.
The movie's smart. I'm trying to think of like the other biggest franchise by DreamWorks. It would be Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon and stuff. But I think this movie alone grossed more the first ones. Yeah.
I could believe the Dragon movie, but did better than Shrek.
I believe
Shrek 2?
I believe it did better. I think. Don't quote me on that.
If you adjust for inflation.
Most likely. Yeah. Fuck, I just lost my train of thought.
They find out that Tai Long's escaped. It kicks shit into gear.
How it's revealed to Po and the rest of the characters, Shifu is trying to find his inner peace. He returns. He's like, whoever is making that flapping noise, quiet down. And then you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then the messenger falls
the
to
bird
the
lands.
Yeah. He's like, oh, Shang, give me some good news. And he's like, he doesn't even, they don't even tell, like, they don't even, you know. Po makes noodles for the Furious Five, except for Tigress. Tigress refuses. It's like, oh, it's so good. I can't believe. And Pose says, oh, you should taste my dad's soup. He knows the actual secret ingredient. We'll come back to it.
Yeah. They pump him up and say, it's good the way it is.
This is actually one of my favorite parts of the movie, too, just because he gets like a noodle over his lip and he like starts mocking Master Shifu and like puts the cups on his ears. But Master Shifu's right behind him. And all the characters, while they were laughing, they have to. Master Shifu's like, you fucking idiots. God damn it. Fucking Tai Long's escaped.
I wish he would have said that. You fucking idiots.
I'm paraphrasing, but yes. Yeah, it's great, man. He reveals, he's like, Tai Long's escaped. Tigress, like, desperately is like, Master, let us stop him. Like, this is what you trained us for. And he's like, no, it's not your destiny, it's his. And then fucking, where'd he go? Poe's like, I'm fucking out, man.
But he has a good talk with Master Shifu. At this point, Oogway basically passes away.
Fucking, I'm out.
I feel like he had to do that.
Yeah.
So Master Shifu could finally be like, okay, I have to make Po into a warrior.
Don't forget as well, when they're picking the Dragon Warrior in the courtyard or right over at the Jade Palace with the big ceremony or whatever, before they start, he says, not only whoever I pick will bring peace to the valley, but also to you. Don't want you to forget that. A lot of callbacks. But yes, Oogway's like, says that he has to like let go of his sense of control. I can control when the peaches fall, and he like knocks all the peaches down and cuts open the peach and puts the seed in the ground. He's like, I can control where to put the seed. And he's like, yes, you can, but you may wish for an orange, but you will get a peach. It's all to illustrate that, look, Po the panda is the Dragon Warrior, and you can wish he isn't, but he is. And you have no control in that. But you have to nurture the peach. You have to believe in it and nurture it and let it grow into a tree. And he just asks Shifu to promise him that he'll believe, and Shifu says that he'll try, and that's good enough. And he fucking just, whoosh, I'm out. And I remember as a kid, that shit would fuck me up. I'm like, oh, man, fuck.
It's super unexpected.
Yeah.
Like the way they deal with his death, because it's not like he's old and he passes away in his sleep. He just accepts it's his time, and he just gets swept away.
And it kind of ties into the way they treat, it has like this kung fu-y mysticism to the world. The later films deal with that even more. Like it just becomes like its own little thing, you know? It's not like distasteful that way he, like, it feels believable enough. But yeah, that shit fucked me up when I was younger. Like, I'm like, oh man, this is so sad. Because you love this character. Like, he's so, like, he's funny, he's wise, and he's always chill as fuck. And he's gone. Now it's like, all right, Po, let's do it. We kind of get like a little bit of inside what Poe's thoughts really were.
Well, Po gives this great speech about like, how are you going to turn me into the Dragon Warrior? Mm-hmm. And he keeps reiterating how. Mm-hmm. He says it over and over again. And Shifu just like admits in defeat, I don't know.
We kind of get a cutaway. Po has like the ability to throw punches and kicks and stuff when he's comfortable. And it's shown throughout the film in small ways, like in his room. He kicks a hole through Crane's wall to reveal Monkey on the other side and stuff. He can do things. And then in this scene, he's in like the kitchen where they were eating their noodles and stuff that he made for the Furious Five. And he's like punching holes through the cabinets and kicking boards and stuff, you know, destroying this room. But essentially, he's capable. Master Shifu stumbles upon that. And he's like, what? I eat when I'm upset. And he's like, oh, it's no problem. I just thought you might want to know that Monkey hides his almond cookies on the top shelf. And then Po makes it up there.
Seconds flat.
And he does a full split. And he's still eating the cookies. And Po's like, oh, no, this is just an accident. There are no accidents. It's coming together.
He finally realizes that Po's motivation is food. And it should have been obvious the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the whole fat joke thing.
This movie doesn't really waste any of its space. Like, it really... It makes everything meaningful, and it serves another purpose. I think this is where we get, like, our training montage, where he takes him up to... Oh, I can't remember what it's called, but essentially up a mountain.
Something of Tears. The Lake of Tears?
Something like that.
Because he's washing his pits in it.
It's where Oogway discovered the secrets of Kung Fu up there and stuff.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Now, you get the original montage of, like, he's doing push-ups above the bowl of noodles, and, like, he's doing all these, like, training exercises. Mm-hmm. But the scene comes to a climax when Shifu fakes him out and says, "We can eat now." Mm-hmm. And they sit down, and he, like, goes for the dumpling, and Shifu steals it out of his chopsticks. And he keeps reiterating the line, you can eat now.
You may eat now.
Yes. Yeah. And this is the first time that Po feels like a warrior. Mm-hmm. He's going toe-to-toe with Master Shifu because they're fighting over a dumpling.
Yes.
It's fucking great, dude.
It's so fucking cool. Like, the chopsticks are iterated into the fight. Like, they fucking, like, have their hands using the chopsticks. It almost, like, portrays their hands as people, and they're using the chopsticks as stilts. And they're fucking... Master Shifu flicks his hand. It's so cool the way it's done. It's hard to describe in words, but... And it happens so fast. Like, it is such a quick scene, and it's, like, choreographed so well.
It put a smile on my face when he actually got the dumpling.
Yes.
Because it makes you realize Po's ready.
Yes. Also, I want to point out that during the whole thing, like, the dumpling's flying through the air, they're chasing after it, trying to catch this dumpling and fight each other at the same time. And Master Shifu breaks a big old smile on his face. And it's like, he's having fun. Like, oh man, he's not just like an empty old man. Because the rest of the characters see him as, like, the Furious Five, they're like, he takes no shit. Like, the way we saw training earlier in the film, like, he's criticizing them, saying, like, you guys did well. If you were trying to disappoint me. It's good to see his character change as well. It's so nice. He gets the dumpling. Shifu realizes that he's ready, and the fight's over, and he bows and says, like, to articulate that you can have the dumpling. And Po fucking just, like, tosses it back at him.
He says, "I'm not hungry."
Yeah. Oh, man.
That was good.
I don't know if you also notice, Po gets thinner. Like, his character, he actually does he does trim a little bit of fat.
I didn't notice that, actually.
Next time you watch the movie, if you ever get there, you don't have to watch. I mean,
because they play up his fatness in the final scene, so I didn't really think about him getting thinner.
At least to me, I perceive him that way. And especially in the later films, he's not as fat. We get to watch our infamous Furious Five get absolutely decimated, which is another great action scene.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I hope you enjoyed this one as well.
It was great.
Something we should touch on as well, because I feel like this is where we kind of get to really focus on them. They all have their own unique fighting style, which is also plays into kung fu fighting styles of, like, tiger, monkey, crane. Like, these are all styles that can be taught in kung fu, and they all embody them. This scene, it's almost like they're in the Hallelujah Mountains in Avatar. You remember the blue people? I
didn't watch that show very religiously.
No, not the Airbender, but the cat people.
Yeah, I know.
But like the floating mountains and shit, like the Pandora ride at Disney World type shit. Yeah, kind of like that. And there's like a bridge connecting one of these tall mountainous structures to another, and this is where the fight happens. And man, you get to really see how fucking comfy Tai Lung is against five, apparently the best warriors.
5-on-1. They rack up the tension a lot by cutting the ropes to the bridge at the very beginning of the fight. So it's not just like people fighting on it. Like, the fact that somebody could let go and they'd fall to their death at any moment.
Tai Lung is like 1 foot on one rope and another arm. He's just like hanging out. Like, he's just here talking shit, Like, he knows that he's going to fucking tear through them. And you don't know that to begin with. You think, like, they might have a chance. It's 5v1.
Well, they put up a believable fight at first.
One of the things I think was the most fun, I mean, we get to see Tigress is the most adamant about going and fighting Tai Lung. Tai Lung and Tigress are the ones fighting at the beginning, and it's a fair fight until she starts getting her shit rocked and kicked through the boards of the bridge. It's almost like the bridge in Shrek where Donkey's stepping across, like
Yeah.
and she's getting her fucking shit rocked, and Crane goes in and tries to save the day, and then Viper and Monkey. And then they leave fucking poor little Mantis Seth Rogen to hang on to the ropes, and he's like, oh, why'd I agree to this? Like, holding up like the weight of 300 pounds, 700 pounds, somewhere in that range is people fighting on a bridge. And I think it's cool, like, they think they've won because they tie him up in one of the ropes and, like, kick him down against hits this mountain or something. I mean, you can hear it audibly echo throughout this setting that we're in. You can see the ropes start moving again, and he fucking just swings back up. Behind them, he tells them, like, Shifu taught you well, but didn't teach you everything. And he just fucking, like, paralyzes the shit out of them.
The pressure point thing. Mm-hmm. And the movie, like, displays this by a glowing...
fist, almost, like blue.
Yeah. And you see it for the first time in one of those flashbacks where Oogway paralyzes...
Mm-hmm.
Tai Lung. It plays into the rest of the movie. It plays into the end. We'll get there, though.
This is a sidestep in a way earlier in the film, but when Poe first arrives into the Jade Palace, he goes into the like Hall of Warriors or whatever it's called. Did you find that scene entertaining as well?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up.
Yeah, I didn't want to forget about it because it's one of my favorites.
Are you
finished?
He's going around. He's looking at all the
artifacts,
in this palace. And he comes to the vase, and he says, he's like talking to himself, and he says, this is the vase of blah, blah, blah. If you listen, you can hear the voices of soldiers that died in the battle.
The Tenshu army or whatever it is. And the souls of them are in the vase.
He's talking into the vase, and then he doesn't know Shifu's behind them, but Shifu talks to him, and he thinks the vase is talking to him. Shifu says, like, turn around, and he says, okay, and looks, and he sees Shifu, and he just goes, hey, and it goes right back to the vase. Yeah. That actually got the most audible laugh out of me the entire movie.
Good. Because I think, again, it probably ties back into, I figured the movie would win you over at some point. I'm sure, like, it started to plant the seeds of...
I think that might have been the part right there.
Mm-hmm. It's comedic and everything, and it's funny, but all the characters are charming in their own way. But anyway, Tai Lung fucks these bitches up. This is a kids movie, just an R-rated review. What happens after this? They come back and
he let them live to strike fear into the hearts of the valley,
and it did because Poe's fucking scared to death, but he's gonna have something that the rest of them don't have to defeat Tai Lung, and that's the power of the Dragon Scroll. This is like what we've been building up to the whole time. Man, and the movie handles this so well. It doesn't make Poe invincible. It doesn't like give him some power to defeat Tai Lung. It'll come back to like what the movie's always been about.
Believing in yourself.
Yeah. So like God damn it. You're making this sound like it's for 12-year-olds or something.
I think I just sound sarcastic when I talk sometimes.
It's so funny, like the way they get the scroll down. It's like there's like cherry blossoms on the pool of water underneath the dragon skull that's suspended in the ceiling. All Shifu does is takes Oogway's staff and like manipulates the air around and just like pushes the cherry blossoms up to get the cherry blossom to just land ever so slightly on the end of one of the sides of the scroll, and it just fucking falls out no problem. It's like, whoa, that's cool as fuck. And then he catches it with the staff, and it just hits the pool of water real slow, and it's like, man, that was kung fu-y, bro. That's badass. Yeah, but Poe opens the scroll, and even in this scene, like, Poe can't get the fucking scroll open, and fucking Shifu cracks it for him like a jar of pickles,
I loosened it for you.
He pulls out the scroll, man, and it's just fucking...
It's blank.
It's fucking blank.
At this point, we don't know that the scroll is reflective. And I really liked this because after Shifu looks at it, there's a quick scene where he stares into the water at his own reflection. And it kind of ties into like the whole like the scroll is kind of a mirror and you're looking at it. I thought it was a smart way of handling that. But yeah, the whole point is there's no secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Although Poe doesn't find that out yet.
Poe, he thinks he can't beat Tai Lung now. And so they decide to like evacuate the valley and Shifu will take on Tai Lung. While this is Tai Lung fucks Shifu's shit up. He fucks him up. I felt bad for Shifu. Like, I wanted Shifu to like even stand a chance, but fucking Shifu was getting his shit rocked. put through ceilings and the ground and cracking walls in the
This
valley.
was like some Dragon Ball Z shit.
Oh yeah, dude. It's like fucking straight. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Good way to put it. Like fucking
a lot of destruction.
Fucking taking flames in his hands and beating the shit out of Shifu with his fists. And this scene serves the purpose of just saying, like, it's showing Tai Lung's anger. All he ever did was to make him proud. He's like, "Are you proud now?" And it's like, God damn, like, you ain't gotta fucking do a man like that. That's fucking sad.
We get the quick cutaway because Po runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Dragon Scroll didn't give him limitless power, so he doesn't believe in it anymore.
Comes back to his dad.
And he has to talk with his dad. And I like how his dad doesn't ask him anything about his time up on the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, all right, time to get back to work.
Yeah, he's classic Chinese restaurant owner. Fucking disregard, make your son work.
Po poses a question to him, and he's like, "You're not really my dad, are you?" Or something like that. He doesn't state it quite that way. And then his dad is like, "I want to tell you something I haven't told. I've been wanting to tell you for a long time." Mm-hmm. And you think there's going to be a big reveal about, obviously this goose isn't the dad of a panda. But he gives away the secret ingredient to the noodles instead.
He's like, the secret ingredient to the...
It's nothing.
Secret ingredient is nothing. Yeah. And Po has the realization that there is no secret ingredient. He pulls back out the Dragon Scroll, looks into it, and he says, "There is no secret ingredient." And he tells his dad thanks, and he runs back to the Jade Palace. Po interrupts the fight by saying, he's like out of breath. He's like, as he climbed back up the stairs,
"If you want to come get the Dragon Scroll, come take it."
Because the Dragon Scroll is no longer and Tai Lung's pissed. Also, I do want to talk about one thing during the fight, is that Shifu does say, like, "I have always been proud of you. I've been proud ever since the first moment. I've been proud of you." Like, and like Tai Lung kind of lets his guard down for a second visually. He got to hear those words finally. Then he's like, "Nah, fuck this shit. I want my scroll." Realize that there is no scroll, and then cut into Po standing there all out of breath and shit. And fucking, like, I think first thing he does is just fucking rock him and like kick him and like takes the scroll.
Yes.
And it's like, God damn, all right, that was easy.
But he bounces back.
Uh-huh.
This fight is... I enjoyed a lot because they made Tai Lung look like such a fucking god. And then he's in this fight with this dude that just bounces off of things. It makes Tai Lung look like an oaf in comparison.
Ties back into when Shifu says, when he's like beating the shit out of Po during training, saying like, you have to use, he's like, the greatest warrior uses his enemy's strength and use it against him and all that type of shit. And it's like, it kind of does that in a way to Tai Lung. Like, Tai Lung tries to hit him as hard as he can, but Po just ends up indirectly like hitting him back by bouncing back, and you kind of see that he hits his stomach one time and his fucking arms fell back in this slow motion, and he fucking takes his two fists and puts him through
Yes.
a fucking wall.
He's unorthodox.
Yeah.
And that's why Tai Lung can't fight back. Even when he's on the stilts and he's like mixing up the pans to
With
cover
the scroll. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
It's like Tai Lung wasn't trained to fight against an opponent that doesn't know how to fight, really.
And also, like, Po's just having fun. He's got a big smile on his face the whole time. I know this is the first film, and I keep talking about this, like, the next films, but, like, you get to see kind of how unorthodox Po is in later films and stuff. Like, he's not trained in, like, the art of a specific style. He's just a dude, and he's just doing his thing, kind of. Po's, like, has to visualize the scroll as a cookie hung up on a ledge or something, and Tai Lung's, like, chasing after. He's going back up the building to try to get after it, and Tai Lung's like, the scroll has given him power. Like, he's in disbelief. One thing that I guess could be looked at as a negative, it's like, man, you built up to this whole ending fight scene, and it's like taken so seriously.
It's kind of a joke, yeah. That's what makes it good, in my opinion.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way, because I think you could look at it that way and be like, oh, he's just fucking wasting my time.
We got enough serious fights earlier.
And it's also to play into Tai Lung, he got so pissed for nothing kind of thing. Like, it kind of diminishes his character's,
His motivation.
It takes the villain's motivation and it just fucking puts it in the dirt and makes fun of it in a way, which I really enjoy. Actually, one thing that does piss me off is that Po somehow knows the whooshy finger hold. This is the only part of the film where I'm like, fuck you, man. How do you know that?
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I also didn't like how when Tai Lung looks at the scroll and he's disappointed that like it's just a reflection, Poe tries to explain the meaning of it to the villain.
Well, I'll counter that argument with Tai Lung thought it was going to be something else, and he cannot fathom what he's become. He destroyed a village in the valley in his rage after he was denied the scroll. He's been in prison for 10 plus years. He's a failure. He's the bad guy. He wanted to be everything that Shifu wanted him to be. Now he's left with his reflection. Look at what you are. It's lackluster compared to Poe's motivation.
Is Poe trying to like talk him down?
I think it's just a moment to say like, to show like, okay, well, Tai Lung actually gets to look at the scroll and he's like, oh, I finally get it. And he's disappointed. And his disappointment is there's no secret. All that rage and anger, his reason for imprisonment means nothing. He has to just look at himself and be like, this is what you got, man. I think that's what it tries to get at.
Tai Lung immediately tries to hit, what would you call these? Like the pressure point punch.
He's basically trying to paralyze him like he did the 5.
But Poe's too fat. And it doesn't work.
And he tickles him. It's fucking great. Tai Lung's in disbelief that it doesn't work because like that's his fucking signature, like I've got the upper hand trump card type of deal.
Uh-huh.
Now he can't use it on Poe. Yeah, Poe fucks him up. Does the whooshy finger hold somehow? Which I guess,
I was surprised by this actually.
Yeah.
I thought Poe would hit him with the pressure point thing and they would just send Tai Lung back to prison.
Uh-huh.
He fucking kills this dude.
Fucking turns him to dust.
It rocks the entire... It might have rocked the entire country of China, for all I know.
Yeah, because everybody's evacuating the valley, and that's kind of how it's displayed. Like, he fucking does the whooshy finger hold. It's kind of like in Kill Bill Volume 2, where, like, the fucking... I don't know if you ever seen Kill Bill.
Not the second one.
Oh, man. I don't want to spoil this for you, but she kills Bill.
I would assume, yeah.
And she, like, fucking does some kung fu-y shit. Fucking stops his heart. Little pressure point deals. Like, he only has, like, 3 steps left in his life, so he takes, like, 3 steps and Bill, like, falls to his death. Mm-hmm. It's, like, kind of silly, but it's kung fu-y, like this movie is. Definitely, like, ties into, like, those classic kung fu films of, like, having some secret technique. Kind of like this. And they all come back and, you know, they're trying to figure out what happened, and Poe has, like, a pan and a cape, like an apron.
I liked this.
And it kind of ties back into, like...
the beginning
of the film.
The dream sequence.
Yeah.
And I like how he didn't come out of the dust with, like, an actual hat and robe on. He still isn't a badass.
Yeah.
He did something that was really badass, but he's still Poe.
Yeah. And they're all, like, really proud of him, but they're like, oh, fuck, Master Shifu, fuck. You know, Shifu is laying there all injured and shit, and Poe's like, no, please don't die. And he's like, I'm not dead, you idiot. I mean, dragon, warrior. Shifu's still got some work to do. And, you know, it ends fast. Like, the movie ends pretty much right after this, but Shifu does get his piece. Like, the movie the whole time has been, like, overwhelming thought of Tai Lung returning. Shifu can't bear to live with his past. You know, he tries to train the 5 without love. He actually trains Poe and is happy about training him. He's now the master. He no longer has a teacher. He now has to be the teacher. Gives him that responsibility. Mm-hmm. And Poe's made his transformation. And it's like, we can relax now.
I love the closing few seconds of the movie.
Yeah.
Because Shifu's trying to get his piece. Poe says, can I lay with you? Like, as long as I don't talk or something like that. And Shifu says, like, if you can.
Uh-huh.
And so they lay for about 5 seconds. And Poe says... want to go get something to eat? And he just says, yeah.
Yeah.
And the movie ends.
Yeah. Enter CeeLo Green's Kung Fu Fighting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The old theme song. Something we didn't talk about was that the soundtrack, which was done by my boy Hans Zimmer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It kind of goes...
this is a you movie.
Oh, it's
all the way
through. Do you see? It's open. Your eyes are open now.
Broth runs through your veins.
It does. It's quite... Yeah. Right now they do. It's kind of something you don't really pay attention to a whole lot. In the second film, I appreciate it a lot more, but it goes hand in hand with, like, the theme of China and Kung Fu. Like the piccolo, flutes, and the percussion. It's all great. Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite films.
This movie did a really good job with, like, the setting and the theme. Mm-hmm. Because it was a DreamWorks movie, I was expecting satire on the kung fu genre, which it doesn't do. There's no like licensed music throughout. Like, like the Shrek movies, there's a lot of like,
hey now, you're an all-star.
like cheap outside stuff that kind of takes you out of the world.
Won't you take me to Funky Town?
This movie was just, it had a good heart. And like at the end of the day, I think that's like the most admirable thing about it. It was just a good-hearted animated movie. I think I can see why you hold it in such high regard.
It's not like a serious Academy Award-winning drama.
No.
You know what I mean? To me, it is everything that it should be, and that's why I love it. The same goes with like the next films that follow this. The second one even more, and maybe one day we'll talk about that.
This has inspired me to watch the sequels.
Okay, good.
When I go to watch the sequel, I hope to see more of Shifu and the Fatal Five. I like these characters.
Yes.
I want to see more of them.
Shifu's actually, he kind of becomes like a sideline character in the second film. And he's still important, and like he's still a good character. But it definitely becomes more about Poe and his relationship with the Five. You might get to see Poe's relationship with his father, the answering of the question that Poe asked, like, where did he come from? He's obviously adopted in some way. You might get to see like your villain become a little bit more of a present villain and even a more formidable foe. I had a lot of fun. If you had to give it a rating, what would you give it?
I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. That's fair as fuck.
What about you?
10 out of 10, bro.
I should have known.
You should have known.
Hey, you know what else was great about this?
What?
There was no B-plot. No romantic interest.
Yeah. It's fucking...
So glad they didn't go that way.
It's fucking straight shot, man. Oh, yeah, dude. That shit's annoying.
Are they making a fourth one?
I don't know. I think it's like been rumored for a long time that they want to like make another trilogy.
Because I know they made a TV show.
I don't remember it, and I don't ever remember watching it, but I think a lot of it had to do with just like they would go fight bandits and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Villain of the week type stuff.
Yeah. And it's also like in much poorer quality than the movie, so that shit ruins the charm of the film a little bit. It's like animated on like 15 frames per second. Like, no one wants that.
It's like when they made Barnyard into a Nickelodeon TV show.
Dude, Barnyard, the movie, makes me fucking cry.
It's a good movie.
When they fucking kill Ben, when the coyotes kill the dad. Bro, when the coyotes kill the dad, I fucking cry. It fucking breaks my heart. He plays like some fucking Johnny Cash shit and just fucking dies. Like, it's fucking sad.
I feel like I just awoke something in you by mentioning that.
I didn't know you knew what fucking Barnyard was. Holy shit.
I had a little brother growing up.
Oh my God, Barnyard. Fuck.
You just got so passionate about Barnyard.
God damn.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I like that one.
There's fucking coyotes killed the fucking cow. I live next to a farm and I hear coyotes late at night and I always think about fucking Barnyard because they have cows next door and I hear the coyotes and I'm like, God, what if the coyotes get one of the cows, man? It's going to be like Barnyard.
So you had to relive your trauma every night.
Oh my God. Piss break. Tell me.
I don't have much of a spiel for this one. It's been a while since we've done an album.
It's been a while. Is it Beatles related?
No.
Okay, all right. Because I know what I would do if it was my pick again, but go ahead.
I feel like I did the Beatles last year. I didn't want to do a repeat. I didn't, and I almost recommended Yesterday.
The film?
Yeah, but then you texted me 2 days ago and said you were watching it.
I did watch it.
It was pretty all right.
It was fun. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's definitely not as good as Kung Fu Panda, but it was pretty all right.
I guess there's kind of a Beatles tie-in. It's an album, and it's one that was very important to me growing up.
Wait, it's not a Beatles album or not a Beatle?
It's not, no.
It's not a solo record? Okay.
No.
All right.
I'm not sure how to introduce this. It's a record. It came out in 2003, and it's a band that I've kind of wanted to introduce to you for a while. But when we hang out after podcasts and stuff, they're not really the kind of band that you listen to when you're like getting drunk.
Or just chilling with the bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're kind of a sad band.
Okay, we can get sad.
I'm taking it easy on you this time because you made a comment about how we've done a lot of death and sadness type stuff recently. Mm-hmm. So this is like kind of low on the sadness totem pole. It's the band Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Honestly, this is one of my favorite records of all time. I don't think I've ever expressed to you how much this one album means to me. It's 2003's Transatlanticism.
Okay.
The Beatles tie-in is they got their name from a song that appears on the Magical Mystery Tour film. It's not a very experimental record. It's just like a solid, emotional indie rock album.
Okay, hell yeah.
Like,
they're a band that I've never checked out, and I've heard you mention from time to time. So this will be a good way for me to like get like some ground knowledge upon what you're trying to talk about.
I think they have kind of a stigma against them because their name. Mm-hmm. Death Cab for Cutie.
They sound like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like it sounds like Cute is What We Aim For, or like Bullet for My Valentine or something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But they're not that kind of band. They're pretty poetic and emotional. I think you'll like it. It may not mean as much to you as it did for me when I was like 16 and like heartbroken or something. But like,
I'll try to get in that mindset.
it's kept with me throughout the years.
Okay.
So yeah, Death Cab for Cutie's Transatlanticism.
Hell yeah, dude. I've been wanting to do an album. Okay, I would just say, if it was my pick, I thought since the Beatles...
We've been obsessed over the Get Back documentary.
I thought for sure you weren't going to do a Beatles record, but I thought you might do George Harrison's solo album.
I thought about it.
Okay. If it was my pick, that's what I would have done. I'll probably be tired of the Beatles by the time the next 2 weeks rolls around, so I won't be in that zone. But hey, Death Cab for Cutie is just fine with me. It's something I've never checked out before, and hopefully it'll introduce me to a band that I may end up liking.
I think that you might enjoy it.
Hell yeah. All right, fuck yeah. Let's do it. Kung Fu Panda was fun. Death Cab for Cutie next. Tell these motherfuckers goodbye.
Adios.